This episode is brought to you by Buy My Stuff on eBay. Yes, you too can buy my stuff from eBay. Simply search for the seller, Tin Dog Podcast, and you can own some rare and collectible items. From the same people who brought you Buy My Books on Amazon. Check the show notes for a direct link.
Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog Podcast. This time, I said I wouldn't talk, I might not be talking about new Doctor Who, but I just can't help myself. So, welcome to Tin Dog Podcast number, and I think it's 1361. If you're here for the first time, there's a shed load of back catalogue. I talk about Doctor Who, lots of different sci-fi. There's also... for your consideration, where me and my mate Luke talk about other stuff. Search it out, it's great. It's backed up on YouTube. You can download it there or using any podcast feed. That's beside the point, because let's face it, whenever there's a new Doctor Who on TV, the podcast listenership just goes up, which is a shame, because I'm very enthusiastic and very accurate and very nice about some Big Finish stuff as well, which is another place you can find classic good Doctor Who. Right. To business. Before I start talking about, the robot revolution, let me read you, and trust me, this makes sense almost immediately. Let me read you a section from my book, Here Be Dragons. The last star system at the edge of the galaxy is comprised of 7 worlds, which orbit around a perfectly ordinary middle-aged sun. The star has a name which was given over 3 millennia earlier by people who had no idea just how important it would be one day. At the time, it had been fashionable to buy the rights to name a star as a birthday gift for a loved one, and, for a surprisingly small fee, this star had been given the name I Will Always Love You, Karen Dewhurst. It was another 1800 years before distant Karen Dewhurst was able to be reached by a Class 7 robotic survey ship, long after the exact identity of Karen had been lost to the murky mists of time. The name, however, had remained in place, as is the perpetual nature of pointless facts. There was also the fact that someone had gone to the trouble of paying to give this star a name. It seemed only fitting to leave it in place. Another factor in the naming of the star was that the name was considerably easier to remember than star LX73221/22419. The archivist who had made the decision to just call it Karen was a relatively lazy one and did not fancy typing the word Dewhurst over and over again into the database. The 4th world of the Karen system exists in the dead centre of the sweet spot which allows life to grow and flourish, known by most as the Goldilocks zone, a fact that immediately flagged it up as a world of interest for the ever-expanding human race. So, you can kind of guess why I brought that up. Because, 30-odd years ago, a girlfriend bought me a star with my name on, and I've yet to be visited by aliens. So as you can imagine, I'm going, yay! There's a whole plot revolving around a planet that's got somebody's name. Except it's not a planet, it's a star. Yeah. Okay, let's just start off with the basics. Okay, Russell, what have you got against cats? Why did you kill the cat? Was it to make the robot seem more unfeeling and more immovable than you thought? My daughter watched it with me. Now, I was going to watch it at 8 a.m. when it was on, but it was my dad's birthday, so I was going to be driving, north several hundred miles while it was on, and that was fine. So my daughter WhatsApped me. She was sitting on the sofa with me, but she still WhatsApped me 3 pages of notes. We'll go through that in a minute. It reminded me very much of a couple of things, mostly from 2000 AD. That's the comic that, really Russell should have been working for, possibly drawing for. Tharg's Future Shocks. Yeah? It does feel like one of those things where the aliens would come and it would be a planetary thing. But then you've got... Sorry about that, edit. Somebody decided to move a cherry picker crane next to my car. So, where was I? Oh yes, 2000 AD. Now, yes, a lot of people will be talking about the robot designs and all that, and hey, it's a bit of a 50s thing. I just thought Wallace and Gromit. But what do I know? So, Ncuti's back. Sorry, no, I need to talk about Robo Hunter, okay? Now, the plot with Robo Hunter is where you've got a planet and the robots have revolted and they've taken over, and the guy has to turn up and save the day because the humans are being sent to this planet and the robots have taken over, and then there's a whole human sim, as they call them, because the humans should be, perfect, and they're not. So obviously this is synthetic humans that are arriving, so they're using brains inside the robots. Anyway, it's brilliant, Robo Hunter, and something that I would heartily recommend people track down. It's one of those classic comic strips, which is marvellous. The whole glitch with the time as they approach the planet. Oh, right, sorry. You want some random rant? Here we go. The whole plot is basically a bootstrap paradox, which I do not like. Ask me if I like them. Yep, I do not like them. Here's the thinking, right? The robots travel to Earth to pick up Belinda. They travel back to the planet. On the way, there's a glitch thing goes on, and she tells them to go and get, Alan. Instead, the robots travel back in time, get Alan, and they put him on the planet 10 years earlier, or 16 years earlier, or whatever it is, and then he wants Belinda. So they wouldn't be after Belinda if it wasn't for Alan wanting that, but they only go and get Alan because of Belinda. It's a circular paradox which has no logical beginning other than the naming of the planet, which makes no sense, because how would they know? Because they're an alien world. They're not an Earth colony that's using our system of logging planets' names. Also, as my daughter quite clearly pointed out, I know in the story they say it's Belinda One, which it shouldn't be, because you've got to be in the Goldilocks zone. It should be a system of planets. So the chances of it being Belinda 4 would make more sense, or Belinda 3 in the event that we are Sol 3, that kind of thing. Okay, but my daughter just kept saying, but it's not a planet. It's not. They named the star, not the planet. The star's called Belinda. Okay, so she couldn't let that one go, and that's fine. The business with the ninth word. Is the ninth source the true source of truth? Is Russell saying that the ninth Doctor, or Christopher Eccleston's been saying the true things all along about Doctor Who? I don't know. Is that the nice conspiracy theory for Doctor Who fans? Oh, I think so. Feel free to run for it and make your own YouTube channel dedicated completely to how important the ninth word is. So, also it's called Planet of the Incels. Have you seen that online thing where somebody's taken a Pertwee story, card, and created Planet of the Incels as if it's one of the original Pertwee's tales? Oh yeah. Sorry, normally my podcasts are a lot more structured than this and a lot well thought out, but you know what? I just needed to rant for a bit, and that's what we were expecting. So, where was I? Do you want me to go through my notes, or shall I talk about this incel business? Because I'm a 53-year-old bloke. What am I supposed to know about incels? When I was growing up, it was called being lonely. And in this story, you were watching it, and it was just, hey, you're a rubbish boyfriend. There was no label for it. But then again, it's the whole thing about, hey, there weren't any autistic people, or there weren't people with ADHD years ago. No, there were. We just didn't have that particular label. Now, I know the whole incel thing is more about the development of misogyny across, different... you know what I mean. You're a clever person. You're listening to this. You know all this. You could look it up. But in this country at the moment, you've got a whole thing going on where people are like, hey, have you seen Adolescence on Netflix? Have you, though? Oh, we're going to make people watch it in school. Well, forget that. Just make them watch this. It's the same sort of thing. Hey, watch out for toxic masculinity. Oh, it'll get you in the end. Yeah. But of course, this is Doctor Who. It's going to be more throwaway than that, isn't it? It's just the nature of things. So, yeah, he's a bad boyfriend. And yes, they didn't bother de-aging. They just give him different haircuts. And the whole Alan thing, there needs to be a proper exploration of AI at some point. You can imagine Peter Capaldi having a considerably better time of it than this current Doctor. But you know what? As I said, Doctor Who isn't for you. This Doctor Who isn't for me at all. And that's fine. I've got Big Finish. And I have come to terms with this. It does not cause me psychological damage like it used to. The whole, oh, why is this? No, forget it. It's fine. This Doctor Who isn't for me. I've got my own Doctor Who from when I was a kid. That's the point. I've got my own Doctor Who that I adore from Big Finish. That's not the point. So I'm allowed to have a nice, open and frank discussion about this. So that is fine. Does that feel better for you? It feels better for me. Would you like me right now to have a look at my 3 pages of notes that my daughter gave you? And we'll just have a quick browse if that's all right with you. Let me open up my phone. Let me jab at the screen and pretend that I know what I'm doing. Here we go. So, the Doctor, not inconspicuous. Why is he wearing a skirt? The whole point of the TARDIS is to disappear in, and he's not because he sticks out like a sore thumb. Fair enough. They're not realistic reactions to the robot or the cat. What's with the weird design? What's with the weird neighbour? Oh, the weird neighbour, right? She'd totally forgotten about Miss Flood being in the episodes earlier last year, so she had no idea. She didn't understand the talking to the camera. It just came across as odd. Now, you've got to remember that my family are actually the not we. So you're getting a much more realistic reaction from these people. Yes, I'm making them watch it. To be fair, they're the ones saying, we need to watch it with you. And they're probably right. But in our house, Brian May is known as Badger Man. So the fact that I revealed to her that Mrs. Flood isn't just Anita Dobson, noted EastEnders actress, and she had no idea what that was either, because, we gave up on soaps years ago, but it's Mrs. Badgerman. Well, now she's known as Mrs. Badgerman. So if anybody out there is trying to work out who Anita Dobson's character really is, that's the answer. Mrs. Badgerman. Okay, weird style, weird neighbour, bad music, bad effects. It's not her star. That's in capitals. Okay. Get a better word than robot. She says your robot's been overused. I think that was her just, fair enough, it's a point. Weird, worse effects. Laser guns, what's all that about? And then she just keeps writing worse effects repeatedly on this one. Poor foreshadowing. Yeah, she understands the concept of narrative construction. I apologise. She's my daughter. She's going to do that sort of thing. But, not kaboom. It's not all about identity of love. AI generator needs some TLC. Yeah. Okay, so the design of the massive thing with one eye, the massive head, sorry. I know a lot of people were getting Hex out of this, going, oh my god, it's Paradise Towers. I was getting the thing in the basement from Paradise Towers, and hungry, all that bit terrible, right? No one. I know some people out there, Paradise Towers is their all-time favourite programme, right? It's their greatest episode. It's brilliant, Build Hive Happiness. I get it, right? I do. I get that. Some people, I love Time Lash for God's sake, right? So people can love whatever they love. It's just not for me. But this what it was feeling like. It was feeling like the thing in the basement. Oh, and the little, there was like a jetty to the robot. It's fine. Okay, this is the thing that she had serious issues with. That's not an X-ray blanket, that's a scanning blanket. Stop it. It might be using ultrasound or something else. Stop calling it an X-ray blanket. They've called it an X-ray blanket again. Oh my god, stop it. It's not an X-ray, right? Yes, and I know someone's pointed out online that it says gender unknown. Oh, for the Doctor. Oh, great. And why bother? It's not unknown. He happens to be male this time. She did use the word vituperative, which I know I've just said wrong. She's actually written bro WTF. I'm not sure she meant to send me that one. Alan just needs some help. Yeah, where's his legs gone? Seriously, why did Alan lose his legs? It's stupid. Stop saying schwupp. Right, now I know for a fact that there's going to be people out there already making or have their orders in for Gallifrey 1 for their ribbons to say schwupp. Right, and then she's actually written the word ew. Put your lighting on. Okay, oh, hang on. Oh my god. Still confused about how the 9th word works. Crazy weird lighting. Stop laughing. Then she's just written the word I'm confused. More bad effects. She just keeps writing bad effects and bad music. So, that ain't chemistry. Space doesn't work like that. Stop shouting. And her final word on the list is the word help. So that is my daughter's condensed review of this episode of Doctor Who. And I am freed because I don't have to be randomly enthusiastic, because this isn't for me. But quite clearly it's not for her either. Yes, you know what? We'll probably find out when Disney gets its orders in line and it tells us how great we've done with the viewing figures and that it's been the most downloaded thing in the world apart from Andor, which is coming in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, not being Andor is not a crime, right? I have issues with the Doctor's diction. I'm not that fond. Why were there not lots of different types of robots? There was Polish, and the big killing machines. On a world full of robots, there should have been more types of robots. They were terribly well executed. I'll give them that. It just didn't feel... It felt hurried. It felt rushed. Yes, okay, here we are. Here's the big thing. Still better than Space Babies. Fair enough? We're all in agreement with that? Nobody's going to argue. It's just true. Right. With that, I'm going to fade away. And my next podcast will be out on Saturday when Doctor Who's out. And that will be a review of A Big Finish. And sometime next week, if I'm still in the mood, you will get me probably ranting just as much as this about the next episode of Doctor Who, which is Lux. And as an animator, you know I'm looking forward to it, he said in the most sarcastic tone he could muster. Until next time, be seeing you. That was the Tin Dog Podcast. All topics discussed are the intellectual property of the copyright owners. No infringement is intended. Why not follow the show on Blue Sky at tindogpodcast.bsky.social. If you've enjoyed this podcast on YouTube, please click like and subscribe. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.